Now listen, guys, this is an open panel. Y'all know how we do on Flat Power. So let's discuss this mud flood thing, Grand Tartaria, giants, evolution, out of Africa, any kind of debate, discussion, information you would like to exchange today. Let's get it in because steel sharpens steel. Now, I know a lot of people butt hurt because I just had a recent debate. You know what I'm saying, and I laid the motherfucking smack down. So you know what I'm saying, because you can't debate facts. I am a realist, okay? So you can't debate this shit. It's facts. It ain't belief. It ain't emotions. A lot of times people that's debating me show up emotional, man, and I don't care about emotions. I care about facts. That's why we always victorious. Black motherfucking power. What's good, my brother light worker? Shout out to my brother, man. We gonna have some deep bills today. Come on, guys, put your emails in the chat room if you want to join me. We're gonna talk about Grand Tartaria, giants, and mud floods. Now, all of us already know the basics of what all these is, but we're gonna be going in from a deeper perspective. And what I'm gonna be doing is sharing my research. You know what I'm gonna do as well? I'm gonna open up a screen share, and we're gonna read a little bit about Tartary. And I'm gonna tell you where my research leads me and what I got to teach you about it. Now let me open this up for y'all. Hit that like button, folks. Bam. Let's get it in. Anybody else got? Hey, listen, moderators. I can't really watch the chat like that. So if y'all mods can help me out, try to copy them people emails if they sending out emails. If they sending out emails and I can't see it. If y'all can copy their emails, then yeah, we'll get back to them. All right, let's throw this right here for a second. Let's blow it up a little bit. All right, let's get it in. So Tartary is a vast country in the northern parts of northern Asia, bounded by Siberia on the north and west, and this is called Great Tartary. The Tartars who lie south of Muscovy and Siberia are those of Astrakhan, Circassia, and Dagestan, situated northwest of the Caspian Sea. The Kalmuk Tartars, who lie between Siberia and the Caspian Sea, the Uzbek Tartars and Moguls, who lie north of Persia and India, and lastly, those of Tibet, who lie northwest of China. Now, check this out, folks. When you look at all of these pictures of what they're calling Grand Tartary, I'm going to show you where that would be located on Mercator's map. So a lot of people thinking Grand Tartaria is some mythical place, but it happens to be a place that was spoken of not only by the Tartars, but also the Pygmy. And let's check it out. I'm going to show you where Grand Tartaria would be on the Pygmy map. I don't think nobody ever done this. So if you can see right here, you can see Asia, the continent of Asia. My mouse is on the continent of Asia. If you go to the northern tip of Asia, there's a little bitty bulge coming off of, there are 4 continents surrounding the North Pole. And the continent that Asia is pointing to is called Grand Tartaria. It's the northeast continent right above the Pygmy land. So there are 4 lands surrounding the North Pole, and we always talking about the Pygmy land. But the way you approach the North Pole determine which one of these four continents you're going to run into. For example, if you live in Persia, if you live back here on these continents right here in Persia, when you approach the North Pole, you're going to approach it from whatever they call this land. It may be Grand Barbaria for them. I don't know. I'm just making something up. I don't know what they call their land. Uh, in other words, what I'm telling you is all of the continents we know about today is connected to a continent that's connected to the North Pole. In other words, we talk about one single motherland that all humans come from. But what I'm finding out with this research is that every single continent has its own motherland. Now, this is not a fact. This is just what I've been researching it for a couple of days, and this is what it led me to. And when you do the etymology of the word Tartar, it's Tortor, because the land of Tartar is situated near the Tortor or the Taurus field. The Tartaria or Tartaria is Tartaria, dealing with terra firma, dealing with Taurus field. See, the lands that's closer to the hyperboloid, this black mountain right here in Mercator's map, they tend to identify themselves with names based upon the Tartar. For example, like the Native Americans said that they originate from Tartar Island. And Tartar Island, turtle sound like Tartar. Tartaria is just turtle. And the Turtle Island is these four continents right here that look like a turtle shell. Everybody comes from Turtle Island, and Tartaria is just the Asians' way of saying turtle. Everyone has a island connected to the North Pole. And the Asians, when the Asians travel to the North Pole, they go through Tartaria, which would be this continent here. If you look at Asia right here, the northernmost tip of Asia points you directly to the outwardmost part of Tartaria, because it's a little bulge right here. It's like they kissing. In fact, it makes a hyperboloid right here. Makes an hourglass shape. It's like two faces kissing. You got the face of Asia right here, kissing the face of Tartaria right here. So when the Asians took their trips to the North Pole, they said they went through the land of the Tartars. And I think this is like Africa, the Middle East down here, I'm not sure exactly. But when people in these lands right here took their trip to the North Pole, they went through the Pygmy land. And when people over here, whatever continents these is, went to the North Pole, they journeyed through whatever they call this. I bet you it got the root word tar in it, or some kind of tor or tur in it. You know what I'm saying? So everyone came from off of the back of the turtle, and like a ripple effect spread outward to all of these lands. So when everybody go back home, they go through their own motherland, according to this map. That's how I'm interpreting it. Now, you can interpret it many ways. I ain't saying it's fact, but I'm just trying to make some sense out of it. So far, that's all I'm going to build on about it. When you talk about Tartaria, that's all I'm going to tell you about it as far as geographics and maps go. Now, if you want to talk about giants and mud floods, that's something I would like to do with a panel, because I mean, we can look at these buildings again and I can speculate, but yeah, I think I've heard some good theories on what's causing these buildings to be sunken into the ground. They're very interesting ones. And I'm going to just roll with those. Ain't no need for me to do more extensive research on top of mud floods, because you got so much extensive mud flood content out there, and it's great content. So I ain't the type person that just work just to work. If you want to learn about mud floods, somebody referred me to Flat Earth Russian. Hold up, let me tell you what channel to go to for mud floods. It's a couple of them. If you know some, put them in the chat. And we're also going to, somebody said Flat Earth British do the mud flood videos. There's a lot of good mud flood videos. And unfortunately, when I be on YouTube watching them, I don't write down the channels to give them props, and that's fucked up. I'm gonna start giving these people props because I enjoy their content. So, well, at least when it come to mud floods, I do. Because I haven't made anything on mud floods, and I just been looking at other folks' stuff. I decided not to make that on mud floods because the stuff that I saw on mud floods was so thorough, and it was a lot of different diverse explanations. I thought that was substantial. Wasn't no need for Brother Sanchez to talk about mud floods. But there was definitely a need for me to talk about Grand Tartaria because everything I hear about Grand Tartaria is pseudoscience. You hear about Hyperboreans, Atlanteans, and some kind of mysterious people in this mysterious land. It ain't a mysterious land. It's the continents that they deleted off of the map. That's why I always bring us back to this handy-dandy Mercator's map. See, here's the problem we make. Let me show you something. When the powers that be give y'all these maps right here, guess what y'all ain't thinking about? It's still a globe. The reason I'm saying that is because it wouldn't make sense when it starts to bend up here and turn into, for example, these 4 continents. What they did was they connected Tartaria to the Middle East, to Asia right here. And they still excluded the fact that Tartaria, listen, I don't want to confuse y'all. Look at this map. This map we're looking at has nothing to show you about the North Pole. Shout out to Mind's Eye, Mud Fossil University. His name's Roger. Look, what I'm about to tell you is some deep stuff. Listen up, folks. This map in front of you, what's missing on it? Look at the difference between this map, and this map. Now, this is Tartaria on Mercator's map. And Tartaria, according to Mercator, isn't even attached to the 7 continents we know about. It's an island that's connected to 4 other islands surrounding the North Pole, the Dark Mountain. We got to always compare these global maps to Mercator map, especially when we're dealing with the North Pole area. Flat earthers, listen to me. I'm your brother. I'm trying to wake you up. Never ever sleep on Mercator's map. Always foundate yourself on Mercator's map when somebody comes showing you something about the North Pole. Always. Because let me show you something. If you just take this map, it'll confuse you. You know that there are 4 hidden continents surrounding the North Pole. We know that. All the races talk about these 4 continents that Mercator talked about. But when you see this map, you forget about that and you kind of get confused a little bit and you be like, Grand Tartaria was a big ass continent, man, and it was attached to India. And it was attached. No, it wasn't attached to nothing. They want you to think it was attached. It was not attached to these continents. It was attached to these 4 continents surrounding the North Pole, and the Asians had to cross a little bitty river right here to get to it. Flat earthers never compare this stuff to Mercator's map. I don't know why they don't foundate themselves on Mercator's North Pole map, especially when somebody telling them about the North Pole. Nobody I saw on YouTube talking about Tartaria did it from this way what I'm doing it now. And that's very important because where is the hell is the North Pole continents on this map? This is why people making up shit. They don't really know what Tartary is. The word Tartary is Taurus. The land of Tartary is connected to the Taurus field. You see this? These 4 continents is a Taurus field, a geographic Taurus field, because this is as above, so below, micro, macro. All of these 4 lands make a Taurus field, folks. And the land of Tartaria is one of those lands that's connected to the Taurus field surrounding the North Pole. These lands are separated not only by water, but by a level of consciousness. And we can only migrate back to these lands geographically by simultaneously moving there in the physical realm. We got to move there in the mental and spiritual as well. In other words, if we go back to these four lands, and this is just my research, this is the part where I go into my own speculation right here. This part right here. I think if we were to go to these lands today, we wouldn't see nothing. It'll be barren. It'll probably be, I don't think it'll be any life, but I think life is there on a different vibration and realm we can't see into. So when they talk about Hyperboreans and Atlanteans, that could be the nature of this place as well, but that's a whole nother discussion. Now they show you that concept on stuff like Wakanda when they traveling through the forest and you don't see nobody, but they hit a little button and the whole city just appear, because it was invisible to the regular person that wasn't vibrating on that level. You'll walk right through it and don't know you in a huge city, but you think you in an empty jungle because you can't see this invisible city. They show you this stuff in movies all the time. So I don't think you can just go back there and see these advanced races and the remnants of our original ancestors, because I think if you can go there physically, but you will only be able to see so much based upon you didn't go there mentally and spiritually as well. Because when you hear this about this place, when you hear about these four lands right here, it's deeper than just geography. When we cross these waters and into these four lands, is a changing of the ether. It's a changing of the atmosphere. It ain't the same type of makeup as this reality that we on. That's why the Asians call the Tartarian races advanced giants and stuff. And why don't those four races around the North Pole come and mingle with us in our little seven worlds over here? Because it ain't that easy. When you look at these maps, it ain't a matter of just getting on a boat and okay, we can go to Tartaria and see the Tartarians. You can go there, but you probably won't see them because it's different vibrations of life. When you leave this body, you ain't leaving this plane. You just leaving this physical or visible reality. But that's another story. I don't want to get too deep into my own speculation with this. What I want you to take away from it is Tartar is Tortor, and it's a land connected to the Turtle Island or the Taurus Field. When you look at these maps, they disconnected from the North Pole and connected to our continents because the purpose of the globalists is to hide our home. These four continents is our home. This is the tree of life. This is where all the races originate from. And since they want you to have the out of Africa theory, even when they talk about races that we know is connected and we know that there's land surrounding the North Pole they ain't telling us about, when they do tell us about them, guess what they do? They hide the North Pole and they disconnect Tartaria from its they disconnect Tartaria from the Taurus. They disconnect Tartaria from the Taurus and they connect Tartaria to our continents. And then they'll tell you the Tartarians come from out of Africa too. They want everybody to be panned back to Africa. So even when they give you the Tartarian maps, they take away our original homeland and connect Tartaria to these few lands that they limited us to. So always refer back to Mercator, folks. Mercator was telling the truth. Always refer back to Mercator. And I think it's important that the root word of Mercator is the same root word of Mercury. Mercator is our Mercury. Mercury is a messenger. All right? Mercury is a messenger. Even when you look at a thermometer, the liquid inside of the thermometer is mercury, letting you know whether it's hot or cold. So that mercury telling you something. Mercury is a messenger. And when I hear Mercator, I think Mercury. And I want you to just remember all of that so you never sleep on Mercator's map. I think that when we started looking at Tartaria and not comparing it to what Mercator said around those northern areas, we fell into a trap. Now, with that being said, I covered mud floods, I covered Tartaria, and I'm not going to cover giants because we already talked about that. So we just going to throw giants in randomly as you want to discuss them. You know, whatever you want to know about giants, we can talk about it. But we'll take questions from the chat room and we will let people come on up and come on up, let's talk. Let's start taking emails now. Let's open up the debates. Let's open up the discussions and the bills. Let's get it in. To everybody who received the Google Hangout link from me, it will be the same link. We haven't changed it. So to brothers who received the link from me earlier, it's still a valid link. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So we got the panel open, and I got the brother Masterpiece on the panel. What's good, bro?
Here we go. Yeah, what's going on? Let me just mute. All right, yeah, it was good. Yeah, I didn't know that the link was still working, man. I don't know what happened there, but cool. Yeah, thanks for having me. What's up?
Oh yeah, man. Thanks for joining me because this is an interesting topic, and you know it's ruffling a lot of flat earth feathers right now, especially with the brother Vegan Warrior. Shout out to him. This is a threat to the out of Africa theory. I see his plight and I understand his passion because I was attached to Africa as well, being a motherland, until I found out there was other lands. So I'm not saying that I'm right and we didn't come from Africa. We could have came from Africa. We could have originated out of Asia. We could have originated out of Jamaica. I wasn't there. All of these are beliefs, and I think they're interesting topics because where we originate from has always been something that got my imagination going. And it's interesting to see what all of the ancients said. And I think that that's what we're not doing. We want to be from Africa because that's what we've been taught, and for so long our emotions and pride been tied up in Africa, dashikis and the safari patterns, and all of that stuff really play with your spirit. Now you get older and you realize that the ancient Africans didn't talk about out of Africa theory, that they did all speak of northern lands. And I think that we do our ancestors a disservice by keeping on the status quo popular subject of out of Africa, what we all been growing up learning about, instead of not looking into these stories that was told by our ancients. Now, when we say we want to be from out of Africa, we say we want to do it because we want to respect our ancestors. But we not respecting our ancestors when we say we out of Africa because our ancestors in Africa didn't say they was out of Africa. So you think you respecting your ancestors, but they looking down on you saying, man, no, 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 no. Look at our cosmology. Look at what we was trying to teach you. And you're not looking at that because we so emotional with the out of Africa thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Ever since I was a kid, I had this like this connection to Africa, drawing the like when you watch the History Channel and you see the savannah, and I would just draw the animals, and I would just really always want to go to any part of Africa, and I'm so happy that I did. I got to go there like a couple years ago, and I loved it. But when you realize, when you come into consciousness and you realize that there's a game that they are playing and they're hiding the truth from you, you gotta, well, what we realize is what they show us is all they want us to see. And when you go outside of the box and realize that there is a more special place that's not talked about, that is on some maps but is not on the new maps, you know what I mean, that all the compasses point to, Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like everything stems out from the center in nature, so it's synonymous with that. When you start thinking about all that, then you realize that there is more land at the poles that they're not telling us about. There's even ship logs about it by captains and whatever, right? So with the out of Africa, you said it. We could have been from out of anywhere, but it's just that kind of. I guess they chose there for their reasons. We can get into the reasons because there's many reasons. But when we said, we always want to be from Africa, that's true because that's what we were told. But there's also like Chinese that they don't want that history. Like they don't want to be associated with coming out of Africa. I bet there's many Europeans and many other people around the plane that don't want to have their roots in Africa. You know what I mean? We as Black people, I guess, are linked to that because of the conditioning and the similar coloring and what through the skin. But then now there's a movement with the feathers up movement and the Aboriginal movement, which we've gone in extensive detail about. Now we're coming upon something that's more northern, more closer to the center, and it's been erased from our history. I've taken world history, I've taken general history classes, and I've never heard about Tartary or Great Tartaria. Now I have a map upstairs in my house here that shows Great Tartary in Asia. It says like the continent Asia, and there's Tartar, the kingdom of Tartar, Tartary, great, it's all over. And but it's not a Mercator map or a flat Earth map, and that is an important thing to look at. Uh, the they want to spin this like mystical thing on it, because when they look at the art from Great Tartary or the ancient Russian art, sorry, I have some background noise right now. When you look at 5 o'clock, when you look at the ancient art of those lands there of Asia, the northern Asia, it shows like antiquitech, right, and ancient technology being used. And so they make it seem like, oh, they were special or whatever. But this was everywhere. This type of technology through what we call as like great buildings, like parliament buildings, like the White House type buildings, Greco-Romantic type buildings. What we're finding is that these weren't built by the Greeks and Romans. They didn't build these, and they rather inherited them. And even when we come to the Americas, we see ghost towns. We can get into that, and I know I'm being long-winded. It's just like an intro, but a lot of great channels to check out for this information is New Earth. They have she has amazing information. You can take the meat and spit out the bones, as one way to put it. And then here, Conspiracy Are Us. This is a great channel here. Very thorough research. Talks about water towers and other things like ancient technology, and also Tartaria. Age of Disclosures. A pretty good channel to talk about this stuff. But there's a new one called Flat Earth British. With what you said, he's like a real pioneer in this, and you can just go for hours and hours and hours with his videos. Very respectable guy. I've shared a panel with him before. He's a cool dude. Looks into a lot of ancient books and a lot of ancient documents. So Flat Earth British or Martin Leake. Okay, that's his name, Martin Leake. I'm sharing it right here. Just to share, to give that love that you were talking about, Sanchez. And there's a bunch of other people like Richard Lopez. But when you type it, there's even a channel called Mud Flood. But there's a channel also by a Russian, I think he's an Eastern European guy, called New Earth Creations or Life Creations. I'm pretty sure. No, or I want to share the right one. Yeah. And what these guys do, they work with New Work, Life Creations and New Work. They work together, and they're actual, like, they go into the archaeology of the hidden paths. And so yeah, I guess I just wanted to share those people's channels. Now, when it comes to the theory on how you think that the buildings could have sank, and I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to hear what you had to say about that. And peace, Quentin. I know that was long-winded, but we're getting into this. There's a lot to go over. So yeah.
My bad. I was lighting the incense over there. Okay, you said you wanted to hear my theory on how the building sunk.
Yeah, we've talked about it in past shows, and you wanted to get into that because I think that'll be a good transition into like more information on this. So if you
Yeah,
want.
I can't say it's my theory. What I was saying is when it came to the sunken buildings, I was interested in a lot of the different theories I heard online. But I did have my own theory on Tartaria itself, and that's what I went over a minute ago. But as far as the sunken buildings, I pretty much subscribe to the whole idea, the mainstream belief about it. The fact that there was some kind of mud flood. It could have been via government weaponry, or excuse me, let me close that. Government weaponry or vibration. I remember we was playing a video where the guy on the bulldozer shook the ground and it was liquefying. I think that's a plausible explanation because of the nature of the buildings. It's like they frozen in time, and that's exactly what that demonstration showed me. Because you got a solid ground, and with the right vibration, it becomes like liquid mud almost. And then when you stop the vibration, it's solid again. So that would, a building could completely get sunken like that, and where you got the bottom parts of these buildings covered under the ground, almost like the ground just safely swallowed them. It didn't harm them or nothing. And that would be that vibration experiment that we was looking at with the bulldozer. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where my mind leaded me to think with how the buildings get sunk.
Yo, Quentin, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
Yo, you want to add anything before?
Yeah, I mean, y'all was just pretty spot on with it. Like, I'm like you. When I took all of the different classes and stuff like that, they didn't really mention that and a lot of the stuff. And it seems like they always try to bend like the four islands or whatever from the center around, to make it straight. And it's like you can kind of notice because it's this website. I wish I can screen share. It shows like all of the ancient maps or whatever that the different map creators was building around Mercator's time before and after. And I just went through a chronology of them and seeing which ones, go back from the earliest. And, they was all, the flat earth maps before. And, Mercator, he had like completed the first full atlas of the flat earth, thing with the center and the North Pole actually being explored lands before they actually start converting it to like globe science and making that stuff wrap around instead of be a circular disc. Like I'm gonna post I should post a link to the website in the chat or in the back chat too. But yeah, it's like a lot of different maps or whatever with their time periods on there back to back. Just like if you would type in images in the Google search into how a whole bunch of different pictures that come up, but each one is dated and in chronological order.
Yeah, I think the maps are very key to look at when we're kind of breaking down the past, because maps are very, very complex to make, and you don't just sit down and spend all that time on a map, for nothing.
Right. And to add to it, like bro said, it was real dangerous because it was getting people killed. I believe that's what got a good amount of Gerard Mercator's family killed because he got to doing like he basically got his family into it. He got his brother into it and his kids and his own kids. So they had started continuing this work to try to finish putting it together towards the end of his life, and they continued it after. But a couple of them end up dying and getting killed too as well. That's why I was like, I wonder did all their mysterious deaths of young, kind of like the Kennedy family, add up to do with what they was doing with the work of the Atlas.
Yeah.
That's deep when you talk about the atlas and what the whole the deception about the concept of the atlas and all of this throughout the time, and the connection that the atlas have with Atlantis, the sunken city. And when we talk about all of these sunken cities, I think they showing us these little things up on the water to throw us off from the mud flood buildings, because the sunken cities, like I said, it's just like the early beginnings of flat earth when they wanted us to think that the waters above and waters below was liquid water. Like when people hear mud flood, they may think water, mud, flood, but this magnetism is some deep stuff, and that's what they trying to slow the awakening of. And I think that's going to explain a lot of the phenomena that we ain't going to be able to explain. Another one being anti-gravity, what they call it, anti-gravity. We call electromagnetism. People call us stupid, but when they go by anti-gravitational devices, they gonna think the government's so smart. When you know what I mean, it's crazy. But all of these cataclysms and all of that can be explained when we go to talking vibration in relation to all of it.
Yeah, it could be like a natural vibration, or it could, like just amplified, or it could be like weaponry. Either way, it's very real. The fact that the liquefaction is what they call it, and I'm just showing like a little picture here how it could lean a building. Now, what do you think about this? What do you think about these huge sinkholes that go like, it looks like it just goes all the way down? Does anybody have any thoughts about these in relation to the mud floods?
Yeah, I've often questioned, because there was a period where it was like a trend, a whole bunch of them kept popping up. I often question how real was it and how deep did it go if it was real.
I'm wondering if it's possible that it could be like an air pocket from, like, say, like an earlier stack, or that, like a hollow stack that it didn't get filled with mud completely and it like sunk. Or I'm thinking, like, did they drill from the bottom up, but not to the surface, and let it fall so that the next mud floods, the mud has a place to go. I don't know. These things are playing with me, these questions. But one thing about the mud floods is that when we look all over the Americas, and even in Europe, we see like these buildings that are taken down to their half levels, like the half of the first level, or even all the way down to the second level. So a lot of these like old buildings that we see, we're actually looking at like the building, like the balcony level, while actually there's like other floors below it. And I wonder if it all sunk, or if there was some sort of like spewing out from somewhere, from the deep, from the center. I don't know. Like, does the mud flood, are these mudslides coming from a higher elevation sliding down, or is it all the vibration, like technology? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and I've been thinking that too because between all of the stuff that we've seen with them using sound technology, with the LRAD, the fact that they got that, the fact that they got the harp, they've been working with sound and technology so much on a massive level, a massive scale, and they've proven that they could, acoustically lift things or shatter stuff. So that's not far-fetched to think in situations of population control or insurance purposes to destroy things or whatever to make a claim. It's kind of like how the Twin Towers was blew up and an insurance claim was took out on a couple of days beforehand.
Yeah. And with Tartary being like this, like I've heard people say that they're a great race of like, survivors of the Hyperborean age or whatever, or that they are that, or I've seen things that they were giants. I've heard things that they were absolutely brutal, and would just open up bodies while they're alive and just torture them, kind of like medieval type stuff. And I've also heard stuff and seen stuff where they were, peaceful, and you know what I mean. So it's actual history here.
Yeah, like
It's
you talking about like the different Hyperborean stories.
no. Well, what I'm trying to get at is that we have something that is actual history. Grand Tartary, Great Tartaria, all that. Like it's on the maps, but there's like conjecture between, were they peaceful and enlightened, or were they, murderous? Because you've seen depictions of both if you look at enough of the depictions. So
Yeah, and I think that that's because that's the truth. They were both just like us. We're both we peaceful and we murderers. Um, I got a question for y'all. What do we mean when we say Hyperborean? We never really specified. I hear it a lot, and I know it was a Hyperborean race, but we know that the race was around the North Pole. We know that the North Pole, when we talk about magnetism, is a hyperboloid. So when I hear Hyperborean age, I hear a time when we lived around the hyperboloid, when everybody lived around that mountain, that dark mountain.
That makes sense because
what I oh
to
sorry.
those root words a lot. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Master.
No, sorry. I was just gonna get into this quickly. There's like a type of tree line in I'm presenting I'm presenting this. There's like a tree line or like a latitude line, like the boreal forest. It's like a line, and obviously on this map we see it as a straight line. But if you looked at it on like an AE projection map, it would be like a circle, right? I mean, this isn't an AE projection map; it's still a globe, but it still like shows that top view down. So I know this is a globe, but it's what it's showing. So it's that ring, and anything above it is hyper, and anything below it is hypo, right? Like if you had like a hypothyroid issue, you would have an underactive hypo, like a thyroid. But if you had a hyperthyroid issue, it would be above. It would be overactive. So anything hyperboreic would be inside this ring. Now, obviously, we have that hyperboloid feature, which is right. I believe that anything. I believe that this region is like a tree line where the growth is just it's really magnificent growth. It's just really conducive. Everything works together. It's just
Could I iterate something too about
yeah,
that area?
yeah.
When you say the boreal, go back to that picture. Oh snap! Quitting to pop back on. When you say the boreal forest, if you take the B off, it becomes the aureal forest, and the aura is the aureal or the boreal aurora borealis. Don't it sound like aurora borealis? So I think that tree line is a magnetic, like if you think of the hyperboloid, I think it's not like physical trees. I think when we go to that area, we start seeing the sky fall. Literally. If you look at a flat earth concept of the cosmos, the sky literally falls into the ground at the North Pole because we're on the inside of a donut. And when we reach the North Pole, we reach the hole and it looked like a hyperboloid. So this whole line around there, what you pointing out, I think that's the edge of the earth where we reach, like, the donut hole, so to speak. But that's just another way you could look at it. Go ahead, I cut you. I just wanted to throw that in real quick.
No, it's all good. It's all good. What is I guess stacked? Okay. What I would say it is that is a magnetic like anchor point of the of one of many hyperboloids. I think that you would have another one of these ring lines, say around the like around the tropics, and then you'd have like another one like beyond that, and outward and outward and outward, these rings of magnetation. And so everything that grows here is just like super lush, super green. And I think that there's another hyperboloid in here with its own, it has Mercury inside of it, Venus, and that hyperboloid kind of anchor point, say it's this ring here, it would be again like another ring of life, another zone like of Eden, another, you know what I mean?
You know what you explaining is spot on, masterpiece, because if you pull up Mount Meru from the Hindu, it'll show you that, yeah, when you get around that area, it's like it's a separation of worlds and stuff. And I was going over that with those four lands. Like, it ain't just, I think the nature of those lands, uh, oh snap! Hold on, we keep getting this. Hold on, I'm gonna have to go to my software and cut my sounds off real quick. Y'all bill a minute, cause this getting annoying. Let me do that real quick.
Yeah, Quentin, if you're back, and or Ryan, if you want to introduce, go ahead.
Wait, Master, that's you that got that map up?
Yeah, that's me there. Hey Ryan, yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Oh, my bad. I was just finna ask y'all, cause I've been, dibbling dabbling, seeing different people talking about it, but I'm leaning towards, are y'all saying more that they dissected Asia and all these other places to make them those continents, and Tartaria was once all that, or what? I'm kind of confused on that part.
The way I interpreted it is that within Asia, you have, China, Mongolia, and Persia. You had different parts of Asia, and one of those empires was Tartaria. And if you look into Martin Leith's work, who I shared, Flat Earth British work, he can show you a lot of maps where Tartary had actual bases or footholds in places like Peru and California, so like the West Americas. So it was actually a very big empire that extended out cross continental.
Okay. And was this more like a group of people, just all different type of people running this, this empire? Was it?
It seemed multicultural. There's depictions of people from dark to light, small to tall, which is also something that really that out of Africa they can't deal with, because they well, we know what they say, we know the story, and to have these empires here of mixed races, you know what I mean, it completely goes in the face of everything that we've been told about the out of Africa thing.
Most definitely does. And I'm gonna show you how crazy it all is and easy to debunk, just to piggyback ride off of your masterpiece. For so many years in this generation, I'll say toward the within the 1900s all the way up to us today, with the rise of the out of Africa theory, it challenged popular Christian concepts. Now I'm finna blow y'all away today, and you ain't never heard this nowhere. Listen to me closely. Black people in America were slaves, and we were given the Bible, and we were basically whitewashed to become Christians, which is not really our real culture. We know that, but we know that Christianity as a science is all cultures, but this white Jesus thing, we know that was put on the slaves. That can be traced all the way back, you know what I'm saying, as far back to the 30s, 40s, 50s, you name it. We know how far back slavery can go, even further than that. So what I'm saying is all the black people in America always believe that they come from the Garden of Eden. Black people in America have been so programmed with the Bible in this land for so many years, and Christianity still the number one religion amongst blacks, that the average black person will tell you, man, listen here, man, God said we all come from the Garden of Eden. Now, here's the problem with that. With this rise of the out of Africa theory rising up in the 60s, 70s during the neo-paganism movements and all that, the question arises for black people, is you contradicting yourself by believing as a Christian that you come from the Garden of Eden, but believing as a black nationalist that you come from Africa. So guess what? There was a big old contradiction now. And you know what these bastards did to clear that contradiction up? They came with an article in the 80s from Time magazine, and they said that Africa was the Garden of Eden to clear all that up. Ain't that some deep shit?
It
Yep.
was the throw off. That was the throw off right there.
That's what the Masons do all the time. As soon as you get close to the truth, they throw another pair of invisible handcuffs on.
Yeah, they got lies on top of, it's like an onion. In fact, it's actually a good like segue about what I'm gonna show here. We were when we were talking about the lines, bro. The boreal lines. Just for the people that I guess it, couldn't really hear it. Okay. All right. Yeah, I do. I just have to turn down my phone. Okay, perfect. All right, so I don't get that feedback. All right, so I just wanted to show you guys what I meant. So let me move this down. So if you look at my other screen here, am I sharing with my other screen if I do this? Like, can you guys see? Okay, cool. So if this is all like the Earth, if you have the Earth, say that. What I'm saying is that there's like concentric rings of magnetic flux points that we always talk about it. Those layers, those valent layers, like they tell us in science class. You got the atom with their valence shells, the electrons spinning around it. So as you got these stacks and stacks, or these pillars of electromagnetic fluxes, the things that grow here, like the nature, is like definitely amplified, it's harmonious, very lush and very green. And so if this is a boreal forest here, this line, this ring, then anything, what I was saying was anything within is hyper boreal. because it is within this hyperboloid here. And anything without it is hypoboreal, so like subboreal. And yeah, that's what we're talking about. So I think that's important to understand as well when we talk about where we're going to build certain structures, you know. And then what's also deep about it is that the that hyperboloid, it is kind of shaped like that Mount Meru, because the Meru is often depicted as like a mountain, but for some reason the top of the mountain is wider. Application window, cancel it. For some reason, it's wider at the top in some Mount Meru depictions than at the bottom, and that's exactly what we were just showing. So hyperboloid, and I know that we've covered this, but this is all just kind of getting into the basic understandings of the people that lived here and why it was, I guess, just so easy for them to come across, free energy, because it was just, it's just so amplified. I would say, like this ring here, this black ring here with the gold on either sides. That's what we would kind of identified as, say, the boreal forest, and everything in here is hyper boreal.
Yeah, you can sync that to something NASA gives you in a bull crap science. It's called a hyperstar. You want to pull up a hyperstar real quick and see, that's the thing what I'm talking about. They give you the truth in their own ways. Now when they talk about these hyperstars, or what is it? Yeah, pull up so a star is a damn hyperstar. Wow. They logo is some shit related to the cosmos too. How about that? Wow. So yeah, here we go. A hyperstar. Is this it? I
Yeah,
want. Oh, okay.
yeah. I
That's
clicked
the
in
merch cover?
hyperstar. Which one do you want me to click on?
Yeah, break it down because that's the Euclid. That's the 48 Euclid. That's the yeah, I know what this is.
Mm-hmm.
This all flat Earth cosmos. You can see the Great Mother holding her hands up in the middle. That meditative geometry. See, listen, NASA give you a hyperstar. I think they call it a pulse star. I think they said when a star get hyper, it become a pulse star. They don't call it a hyperstar. A pulse star is a hyperstar, if I'm not mistaken. I know I still remember a little bit of my heliocentric programming. This is it. That's they stuff. Now listen, here go the crazy thing about this hyperstar pulse star. Guess what a pulse star is? A pole star, Polaris. See, right there in that Mercator's map, what we was showing y'all here, and I'm just sharing mine for 1 second. Here go the Mercator map. That dark mountain is actually a hyperstar, a pulse star, or what became a hyperboloid. So when you get to that land, day and night is different. I don't think it's the same thing as here. It may be quicker day and night. I don't know. It may be some kind of hyperboreal, aurora borealis type of atmosphere there, but it's different here. And yeah, that's it. See there, the sun and moon is going around that dark mountain, and when you get to that pole, you going to the thing that's spinning the sun and moon. So it is like this. At that point, the closer you get to the center, you walking out of night and day to a place in between. I want you to think about it real quick. Let me go back to Mercator's map. Anytime you go out of the center, you experience night and day. But what do you experience right there in the center? You don't experience night or day. You experience like a purple zone. It's where red meets blue. It's like a auroric type atmosphere between night and day. And if you ever got up early in the morning, it's like a purplish type feel, and then it get like peachy orange with it. It's beautiful during them Oh no, it's I can't explain it, but I don't think it's like night and day, like how we have it here when you get like to these Asgard areas and stuff. But I could be wrong. We just hear some of this. We gonna speculate, and I love to speculate.
I'm seeing the symmetry between the smaller figure in the middle with the two larger bodies on the outside when I look at this.
I just thought about what bro was saying. It's kind of like when Tom Cruise was playing the Vanilla Sky when he was on the roof. It kind of was like a purplish when he was, talking to they was breaking down what he was in, like a simulation. So he was in the middle of it. So when he got in the middle of the simulation, they was kind of explaining, and the sky was kind of like a purplish color.
Yeah, that's deep. What masterpiece putting up there with the Trinity? That purple color represent the position of Heru in the middle. That's the pineal gland, and you know what they call it? They call it the violet flame. And if you look up the color violet, it's the color purple. The movie The Color Purple wasn't nothing but two sisters breaking up and unifying, just like that Trinity. And they was polar opposites. One of them was shy, one of them was, beautiful and outspoken, one was ugly. I could just see a lot of different type of shit. I'm just saying, but I don't want to get off subject. But I know the color purple is associated with the pineal gland.
Yeah, that part in Vanilla Sky is interesting. When the Vanilla Sky turns purple in that revelation, it's
Yep.
it's like delivering that messages to his mind. He's like understanding now, seeing clearly. So it's like purple backdrop,
Yep.
very symbolic. And you can definitely see the goat head, in this, the inverted star, the Baphomet head, if you will. I know that you were going in on that the other night.
Oh yeah.
It's
Hey,
all
speaking of, we been seeing a lot of stuff because I started watching Sabrina, the witch girl up on Netflix with my girlfriend, and you know, it's a lot of stuff in there that they talk about with the Dark Lord, the Baphomet. They actually get the Baphomet as the Lord that they're serving. Pan walking around with his goat head and his dick out, but neither here nor there.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be going back in on the Baphomet, man, and we can all do some open panels on it too. I'm gonna be doing that series for a while because man, the Baphomet is pretty much every sun god on the earth. And it's crazy because the top hat, the cane, the magician's one with all of this stuff is Masonic. Like the cape around Superman is basically all the heroes and comic book characters got on Masonic attire. You know what I'm saying? Capes and shit, magician ones, and you know, but it's deep. They glorifying the ascended masters. That's who they got. They got your grandmother kneeling down, worshiping. Excuse me, worshiping the lineage. I shouldn't have coughed on there, my bad. But they got your grandmother kneeling down, worshiping the lineage of their grand masters. You know what I'm saying? That's who all these gods are.
Yeah, I know this probably ain't the time to be talking about it, but wouldn't like the Patriot kind of symbolize it too with his kind of funny looking hat, and then he got his gun is real long. It could be kind of L shaped, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All of that is the same symbolism. The cowboy with the revolver. You know what I'm saying? That you got to remember that's what the shepherd wore. Remember, Jesus was a shepherd, and if you look at a shepherd, the shepherd come out there with a long. See, I'm from the south. A lot of people that ain't sheep herders still dress like you can see the parallels, like Jesus and shit, like long ass robe on back in the day, a long ass straw hat on, and you had a long ass stick to hit the animals and shit to govern them with. So when you talk about Moses with the staff with the robe on, you know what I'm saying, or Jesus with the robe on, with the keys, which is L shaped like the gun you said, and that staff is always bent. That's why Santa got the candy cane. You know, when you join a Greek society, you step with a cane. You know, it's all linked to the same deal till you write about it, brother. But you know, this whole thing about the pole star is deep because pole star is pole star. And if you think of your pulse is a vibration of life. If you put your thumb over your wrist right now and just feel your pulse, or get the spot under your neck right there, just feel your pulse. When you feel in that vibration of your blood flow, your pulse, that's you. Each one of us is a vibration, and none of us is vibrating at the same speed or frequency. So every one of us our own song. So we all are pulse stars, and that heart beating and that pulse you feel in yourself is the same thing going on at the North Pole while we blinking night and day, night and day, night and day. And the low tide, high tide, low. It's the same thing. It's a pattern. So that's all I'm saying. Like the pulse star is the star in between the polarity, sun and moon. So it's that third tip, that third point in the middle of the trident, and the two around it. We know that's the sun and moon. But Masterpiece just showed you that with the Trinity. I just wanted to point it out again. But this tie into Tartaria and all that, man. I think if I'm not mistaken, uh, the land of Tartary influenced the name Turkey for some. I think I was reading that in one of them articles or some crap. Man, it's a lot of information on this stuff. Y'all just look into it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of information to dive into when you go to this region, because they they've highlighted, when we look to the past, they highlight certain regions, and they left certain regions alone. And like, for Russia being such a huge country, it makes me wonder, what happened to Russia's predecessors. And well, now we can see what happened is that they just went like incognito. I don't believe that the Tartars were ever destroyed, because on the Tartary flags had, or like the crests and stuff like that, the emblems, they had two animals on it that are still around today. They had the owl, and they had like the griffin like dragon type of animal with like wings and the tongue out. And that owl, hold on, let me just share my screen. So, okay, obviously we know that the owl, the Malak, that they worship, they praise to Malak. But also the owl was on the $1 bill. It was in the corner of the $1 bill. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys knew that. I'm trying to find it, but U.S. dollar bill here in the corner. There's an owl right here. I'm sure you guys knew that. So that owl from Tartary went into the States, dollar bills, like we said, that they had strongholds in the Americas. And then the dragons, that went to England, and it's still all over today. The gargoyles, the flags, the crests and stuff like that. All that northern region. So it's still today here, Tartary. It's gone incognito under another name.
Yeah,
And
that little dragon lion griffin is also a deity called Ashtaroth, and that sound a little bit similar to Tartary in a lot of ways. Go ahead, Quentin. My bad.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, just how, like, it kind of make me think back to how Black Panther really tried to resell the out of Africa theory and highlighted their tribes, not to take anything away from the fact that African tribes ain't never got that positive of a portrayal on screen, but I feel like into all of this and we go back into the maps and when you add up all of the histories of the different civilizations, everybody probably had their own Wakanda. Just like you said, everybody had to have an island to touch back to when they was crossing to the North Pole.
Yeah, yeah, like the most logical if we looked at the what is it, the Mercator map.
Hey, Masterpiece, I'm gonna actually send you that website I was talking about because it got a lot of maps that we could bring up on screen and dissect. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, get it for me. Yeah,
Okay.
it would only make sense that the people of this quadrant traveled, you know, southward, outward into Asia. The people of here, you know, they all traveled outward. It makes the most sense. And this one here, this is very interesting too. Tartaria and China, the old flags, because we know that they were very, very intimately related. A lot of the Tartarians looked Oriental. A lot of the Chinese looked actually European. There's actually very European-looking samurais, but we know that they're, you know, we've been lied to about Japan because Japan was said to have been isolated from everything. And once the Europeans got there, it civilized them and they showed them the way and they built structures. But that's actually false. And we can see symbolism here, like this owl. It has the, where is it? Here, it has the red dot on its chest, okay? And the Japanese flag is now, you know, that red dot.
Now guess what? Now guess where else you see that red dot? If you pull up Hathor, the cow goddess, she's very known for having that red dot in between her horns, and that became the bull's eye. That's the target. That's the homeland. When you say target, it has the same root word as Tartaria.
Yeah, and also the Indians, some people in India keep that alive today, alive and well.
Y'all better hit that like button. We breaking this Tartaria thing down on a deep level right now, man. Shout out to all these brothers on the panel. The people sending emails, I already sent you an invite to other people that want to join. Keep the emails coming. To the moderators, I gave you wrenches for a reason. Anybody want to bring the energy down, being negative and all that, help them out. Send them on their damn way because it may not be the place for them.
Hey, Matt. Yeah, you got it, Master.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah, this website got good zoom right here too. You can really zoom in and it's really detailed.
Oh wow, yeah. See, the amount of detail as an artist looking at this is painstaking. Every single dot to represent these waves here, and then making them like smaller when it gets around the writing, and making these little inlets. And remember, this is a fountain tip pen, right? So if you made a blot on it, like if you didn't have a perfect amount of ink on the tip of your fountain tip pen, you're gonna have like a blot stain. So these are just I mean, perfect renditions. Look at that. Painted. Must be like some sort of watercolor.
And the cool thing too, you know, not only just in the paint, if you scroll down the page but not the picture, you know, it got the detail about, you know, Mercator and the different, you know, stuff about his life or whatever or what he did. But yeah.
Yeah, that's great. This is raremaps.com, people. What was I gonna say about this? The pig. Yep.
You know, it's one thing that I just want to point out, even though it may be redundant to us. One thing I never really liked is how people just, and even in the black conscious community, even people that say I love Africa and Pan African, and I'm about the motherland. When you go to Africa, all the ancients talk about their reverence of the pygmy people. They say all the tribes get their knowledge and understanding of the cosmos from the pygmy people. When I start lying, y'all can correct me on the panel. I don't know how much y'all looked into it, but if I'm lying, just correct me. The pygmy is the most revered. The Dogon even said they learned and come from the pygmy. So when you look at that map, and Masterpiece just showed you all the intricate work there, and it show you right there the land of the pygmy. And when you talk to the pygmy, they say they come from a land around the north. I just don't get how Pan-Africans can ignore that. You know why? Because they don't want, listen, let me show y'all how sick this is. They want to be for Africa so bad that the most mightiest, the most sacred stories and origin stories on the African continent say we not from Africa, say we from these lands on this map you see right here. But these folks want to see, and look, you can see that it's 4 Nile rivers there. You know how the Nile River got a delta there, and it got that is 4 of them there. That's the 4 rivers. See, check this out. It's so sick when you talk Pan-Africanism because these folks want to be for Africa so bad, and they pride in it so bad that they disrespecting the ancient African stories of our origins. They disrespecting it because they look at this map and they see the land that the pygmy said they from, and they telling the pygmy that you wrong, pygmy. Now, if you go to Africa right now, disrespecting the pygmy, that wouldn't sit well with a lot of the people there because they respect the pygmy. And what I'm saying is a lot of these folks say they respect Africa, they respect the culture, but they don't respect it enough to understand that the ancestors didn't have an out of Africa theory. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's just it always that's deep to me. I don't get that. Like when you find out that the oldest ancient tribes said they come from lands around the north, how much respect would you have for Africa? Because having respect for Africa is upholding the oral traditions of that land, even if they not the out of Africa theory. So y'all see this kind of two-edged sword. It's crazy, man. Like, but we can
Hey,
move on.
hey, nah, you know what? To piggyback what you're saying, it's just like what you said when it come to, how they do with the personification of energy. Just like in Christianity, when Jesus said, "Make no image of me in heaven or on earth," and everybody made images and statues and still worshiping the Son and not the Father till this day. It's like because people want to do what they want to so bad, they don't give a fuck about what the actual natural rules and natural laws say.
Facts.
I
Hey,
mean,
to piggyback off the pygmy and shit, in Americas we got a story of the pygmies too. You feel me? That's how the children that grow up to be chiefs in medicine, man, they got picked by the pygmies. And the stories, goes as the kids was playing out in the forest, some pygmies, that is not kidnapping, but they take the chosen child away for weeks, and then the child come back with all of this knowledge about the herbs, how the universe is connected, and how the whole world is connected. And the very people that they say take these children to give them the knowledge is the pygmies. So the pygmies are well respected by all ancient civilizations, not just in Africa but in America's continents too. And I believe they got one a story about the pygmy in Australia as well, but I'm not too sure about that.
Yep, they even like if you look at even like the European stories with their shorter people, they're always playing tricks. They always have an upper hand on the people. They always know where the gold is. They always know, and they got the secrets. Now look at this. I've never noticed this before. I've noticed that these red blots, but I thought it was just like to simplify the same thing. Look how crazy this is. Okay, now this is the Mercator map. Y'all can see this good? Or can you not see it at all?
No,
yeah.
yeah, it's good.
Okay. If you look behind these red blots, there's things behind it. Like they're hiding what's underneath these. They're hiding the fact that there was townships, whole townships, cities building. Now this is a bullet to say that we are not out of Africa. Like, Africans didn't come out of Africa and develop all of this. Everything in red is some sort of parliament building, some sort of central tower, some sort of free energy device tower, and that's been verified with cross-referential research by Flattish British. He would pull up these maps and show a lot of these like ancient quote-unquote cities, and then and even people like John Levi and stuff, and they'll cross-reference it with maps today, and they'll show like ancient like grids, like grid work patterns, and even some still erected buildings and stuff.
You know what's so deep about it? That work expanded from that northern area into the known world we know today in the form of obelisks, pyramids, and all of that stuff.
Yep. Look at that. I mean, the detail is crazy. I mean, people here blowing great horns.
It's
amazing. Oh, look, I found some unblotted cities. Go ahead. It's a man and a woman, yeah?
No, I was just saying it's amazing that the closer these monuments are to the North Pole, the more people understood that each monument was a mini representation of that dark mountain in the very middle. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And by the time they get out here to where we so far from the center, we think it's just the Washington Monument, the Pharaoh's obelisk. We forgot that when you go back up to the north, we got the same monuments, and we knew that it was just mirror representations of that dark mountain in the middle. You see how like the further we go away, we lose, the signal get weak, like an antenna or something.
Woo!
Yeah. That's right. Like that intuition of how to build the free energy. Look at it. Look at this. This is all developed. You know, people are putting this up. We got to understand the numbers here. You know, they tell us that the population is rising and rising and rising. And what are we going to do? There's scarcity problems. And, you know, we got to control the population. Well, you know, there's ancient maps of people living in places that people aren't living today. Like, I don't see no snow. I don't see no snow. Now, on a map, what you would typically do, in you know, in my opinion, and I'm not like a cartographer, but what you would typically do is a cold region, like a region that experiences like extreme colds, or, you know, like 6 months out of the year is cold, then you would depict it like white with snow and maybe some like animals with fur, you know, of that. Yeah.
I'm sorry for cutting you off. Can you just leave your screen stuck right there while you talk? Because when you get through, I want you to talk about that other stone there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I'm seeing no snow here, no cold regions really. And when I look back into like ancient paintings, like before the Renaissance, you can see paintings and there's never snow. And I looking into this research, you see that these northern regions like Russia, where people today are usually wearing huge, like, you know, hats and pelts, and the Inuits and the of Canada, North Canada, and all that, they have seal blubber on, and, you know, big thick, you know, parkas. But when you look at these depictions back in these days, you don't see snow, and you see very like loose, kind of breezy clothing.
Hey, on some funny, I got the workup from, you know, the text that this come from, because it was called the Inventio Fortunata, and, you know, this was like a quote from Mercator, you know, describing the islands to, you know, a letter to John Dee in 1577. He was like, in the midst of 4 countries is a whirlpool, into which 3 empty these 4 indrawn seas which divide the north, and the water rushes round and descends into the earth, just as if one were pouring it through a filter funnel. It is 4 degrees wide on every side of the pole. That is to say 8 degrees altogether. Except that right under the pole there lies a bare rock in the midst of the sea. Its circumference is almost 33 French miles, and it's almost all of magnetic stone. This is a word of everything that I copied from what I seen. Yeah. Basically, yeah, that's what he said.
That's deep. We're just
Yeah, so
translating this right now.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, oh wait, you got a map translator?
No, I'm translating the words right here. Translator, because I like to look at the old words and see what they meant. I don't like to just read.
Yeah,
Like
because I was trying to figure out how to do that. Like literally.
I could polus magnetis. Okay, so magnetic pole. Whenever you see this big long strike that looks like an F, that's an S. So respectu or respetu, insularu,
Capitis.
viridis, and I'm just gonna paste that here. Pole of the magnet with respect to an island, green capitis.
Wow. Wow. Do you understand what this is saying? Hold
on,
up, zoom out a little bit, because
yeah,
you know how they talk about we got two different North Poles? The globalists tell you that?
yeah. They have a magnetic North Pole and a physical North Pole.
Now, what about this map though? Because it got two North Poles on it though.
Yes, it has two poles. This is a Polus Arcticus. So the Arctic pole is what I'm showing here. And Rupus nigra, and altissima. So altitude, what is that? Altissima. Let's see.
That's exactly where they got to be some about altitude, because that pole raises in elevation. It attaches to the heavens. You know what I'm saying? That's deep.
Very high, very high.
You know what? They got a car called Ultima. That's what we talk about here. Yeah.
Hold on, let's see.
Damn, now it makes sense. All these crazy words.
Yeah, high. So yeah, altitude. So this is the Arctic pole.
Yeah, the Arctic pole rises up high to the sky.
Yeah, the Rupus nigra and
it's 6 o'clock.
The high mountain. Okay, so then this is the magnetic pole with respect to the green capital. So like the green lands, respect to the green, you know, because the translation.
So they saying, I think I understand it now. I think I get it now. If you go back to that map, you know what I'm starting to see. I'm thinking that the Ultima North Pole, the one in the direct center, the dark stone, that may be an electric pole, or I don't know, and the other one may be the actual magnetic one. Maybe that, because listen, you know, maybe there's a one that's like hyperboric or kind of, you know, non-physical, and one that is physical, a real dark stone magnet. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, it's something to think about, because you know we have the pole, the magnetic pole of the magnet with respect to an island green capitis. So capitis. Yeah, I wonder, because I'm wondering if they work together in like with each other in tandem, like if one was to sink, or are these the twin towers that they talk about? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Can't they make a hyperboloid together?
The twin
one be
towers.
The top, one be the bottom.
The twin motherfucking towers. Wow. You know that, you right, man. Look here. maybe one, because think about it. When you think of a magnet, the magnet ain't just composed. If I gave you a black magnet from off the back of my refrigerator and you looked at it, guess what you're looking at? 50% of what it is. The other half of what it is invisible. When we talk about this magnet mountain, this magic mountain, uh, maybe it is a real physical dark black mountain in respect to the green lands around it, which is physical. But there's another one that is non-physical, just like a magnet, just like the magnet itself and the magnetic energy field. I don't know. I'm just trying to make sense out of this because now that we got these, and that been there, and I've been want to talk about it, but that's something. What is this other damn stone on Mercator's map? And I don't know if it's on all of them, but I've seen it on a couple of them, and I think that's kind of like gonna lead into a whole nother area on Flat Earth too. That's the elephant in the room.
Yeah, I'm going in and I'm trying to see what these other little things are, these other dots are, because they might if we could just read it, it would be so much easier to decode. Okay, so I think I got insule, or like insulation or something. Pole of the magnet with respect to the Rack Islands. So,
Yeah.
okay, wait a minute. Okay, so this is the magnetic pole, but from this perspective, so do these warp it? Like, is this like the pole of the magnet with respect to the Rack Islands? Is that where another concentration of the flux is, like of the field? Like, for example, we see northern lights in the sky in certain places. Could they be, bellowing out of this magnetic energy and kind of like making an arc to these islands? A magnetic arc. Sorry, sorry guys. Okay, we're just brainstorming here.
We are brainstorming, and when you said Twin Towers, and now that I look at this North Pole area, it all kind of making sense now, brother. Because if you pull up a Tesla, what's that Tesla device? Is two poles side by side. I forgot it, man. My mind get bad. But he gonna pull it up. It's the Tesla. What is it? It ain't a Tesla tower. It's a Tesla coil, I think. Put it in Tesla coil. Try that. Yeah, go. This on the far right. Now you talk about the Twin Towers, and you go to Mercator's map, and you see these two mountains. Could this be technology? Could this be what Tesla saw? And maybe these two towers are transmitting energy. Because think about this, people. Go back to Mercator's map for just 1 second. Let me make a point. Keep it paused there for 1 second on this image. When you remember what I was saying earlier at the beginning of the show, when you get to this mountain area, you see these mountains at the rim of this four continent circle little island part. I think the nature of reality changes there. I don't think you can just take a ship, get off of it, and get on these mountains. I think it's some kind of. I think the tourist field starts switching up right here. I don't think this world is on our map. These four lands is connected to our map geographically, but not magnetically. Meaning, we can't. Part of me want to believe that if we try to go to these four lands, it's gonna be like a barrier stopping us. That's why we keep saying it's a treaty, it's some stopping us. But I don't think that is connected magnetically, but geographically. And I think when they trying to go to like Mars and these other worlds, they really trying to penetrate this little. I think this little four continent land has its own little dome around it. You know, because, and go back to it for 1 second, because I want to make a point. Whatever kind of races inside of this first, don't just zoom out a little so we can see both of the mountains, because I'm going to talk about like these mountains. Whatever the nature of the races is on the inside of that four continent area, we were always taught that they was higher races, giants, or some type of high creatures. Now they call us fallen angels. Now they said every human is connected to a silver cord and everybody got a higher self. I'm finna get it deep into my speculation now. I'm thinking maybe when they say we originated from these four continents, we still there. Maybe that's where the higher self is, because that's what we teach. We say all the time that the ancestors said your real self is at the center, just like the matrix. The real you is at the center, and we just being emanated outward from the center. So if this is a barrier that's separating those four continents in their own little torus field from ours, it's a different level of conscious there. Those are, maybe we are the real hyperboreans when we choose to astral project into those higher bodies that exist around the stone. Maybe we are there, like how in the Matrix they was on the ship sleep, but they was plugged into this lesser world. But when they wake them up, they be back on a boat and they come out of the Matrix. Maybe this world is the Matrix, and that is the true Trinity ship. If you look at the Star Trek, it's shaped circular like this Turtle Island type land. You know what I'm saying? And so what I'm saying is in a lot of movies, they got this four continent area as a floating island, a floating ship. So I think it's connected geographically, but it's not connected. It's a different plane of, you know. So what I'm saying, and I'm gonna wrap it up. If you look at these two stones, right? If you look at these two stones, I think that these two stones communicate with each other to send information from our world into that world, just like the Tesla coil, and send it back and forth. And, and maybe that's got something to do with what's turning the ether in that area too, this exchange of uh, magnetic information. I don't know, I'm just trying to see, because if you go to the Tesla coil, you see how they like sending and receiving information amongst each other. Now, if you go back to Mercator map, they strategically position one would be outside of that torus field and one would be inside. You know what I'm saying? Where they can, since we can't pass through it physically, they said we can communicate with our higher self via going where? To the pineal gland. Where the pineal gland is represented by that dark stone, it's called rupus nigra. That's the pineal gland. So maybe we can't physically go there. Maybe our world ends physically there, and you got to now move your body, transition your consciousness to your other body on that other side of that barrier. And I think that what connects us to that higher world is these two stones sending, you know, because if you astral project, you know what I'm saying? I'm just cut me off, y'all, because now I'm getting long winded, but this is interesting to me. You know what I'm saying?
No reason to cut you off. The one thing that I did want to say before we get too deep into that mode of thought is I'm noticing some things here. Okay, I'm noticing that this, out of these four continents, the pygmy one is the only one that goes into the water, that has a beach. Do you know what I'm saying? They all have mountains around it, except for these little inlets here. So this pygmy, I mean, it seems like, I mean, if anybody was to leave first and to come out and inhabit these lands, it would be them.
That's an actual fact. Seems like you got an opening into our world. So here's the thing. Maybe there is a physical opening or a gateway that connect the world. So earlier, like when I was saying how if that has its own torus field, we couldn't go in it. maybe the Pygmy land is the only way in it. Like it ain't a complete circle barrier. It's like a Pac-Man mouth with an opening right there where the Pygmy land is, and we actually can enter that land. And maybe that explains why the Pygmy is associated with the North more than any other race, because maybe they the gateway into that land on a that connect this world with that world.
That might be the reason why they say all life starting in Africa too, trying to give you like half of the truth. Cause like you always say, pygmies is all color. So everybody came out through right there. That might have led them to Africa, maybe. Maybe they just trying to tell you the half truth.
Right, like
Maybe, maybe. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, my brother. Truth. What's good, bro? Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, here it is. You got 4 continents surrounding the pole, and maybe when we migrated from the pole, that's the route that we came down through the land of the pygmy and shit. And you never know. It might be more land if we would have branched out through the other continents that surrounded us, and that's why the pygmies is so admired and looked up on by the ancients, because that's the land that we came through to find the lands that we inhabit today.
You
And
know,
it,
and
and
sorry, go ahead.
let me just say this real quick. It also could be a possibility that at some point each land flood like the Pygmy, and at this particular time it was the Pygmy, and at some time that section dry up in another continent, the water rise, and because in some maps it ain't like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. It's like this total like if you're looking at it for the people out there, what we're saying is when you approach these beaches here, you're met with like Stonewall Mountains, like high mountains here. And if we look at here, the water, it just kind of ends on it. Maybe they've always they've always had that outlet and inlet in they came over here, they crossed the river, these other people, and say, oh, what, like you guys got such a easy access to the outer world. But also it obviously needs to be guarded more, right? Like maybe that's why they cover things up with the snow, because they don't want people going back to this pygmy land. Maybe there's some sort of agreement, like bro said. But one thing that nobody's ever, well, I've never heard anybody say before, because I mean this zoom is just incredible. Are you guys seeing these mountains underneath where the water is?
Is that snow?
Well, we're seeing here. Okay, if we look here, right, Finland and stuff like that, we can see that this is water. It's blue, right? And around all the islands, it's blue, and then it goes off into this pale blue. So, could it be sunken?
Yeah, what it is
because there's if you guys go into these like Flat Earth British channels, Conspiracy Eras, New Earth channels, you're gonna see that a lot of them say that these oceans weren't always here, and that there was just land that you could walk, that it was never separated.
Yeah, you know what I think? I think just like we got high tide and low tide, that's exactly what they're referring to. It wasn't always there, and then it comes back. Like this is some truth to these flood stories. Now, we talking about mud floods right now. Everybody always talk about floods in a generation. You see what I'm saying? So I think it's a pattern of rise and fall of the water. But I think those mountains up under there lets us know that the time they was making these maps, they had some kind of flight technology, because you don't see those mountains from the ground. When I was doing flights in flying in planes, when you flying over the ocean, you can see if the water clear enough in some parts, the whole damn near mountain ranges and shit from that, and to the point where with the right technology back then, you could start mapping if you look at some of them areas he was showing, some of them underwater mountain ranges, is connected to the ones on land. They go, you can follow the pattern and it'll connect right back to the ones on land. So excuse me, whoever was making these maps had to be up high, man, making them. That's another thing, you know, because they want you to think we didn't start flying into Orville and Wilbur Wright in North Carolina, you know.
Oh yeah, this is definitely. I mean, you're not walking around and plotting this out and getting information from a bunch of different people and plot. No, we were definitely like literally like in a balloon or something, in some sort of technology that you could look down and just have hours to just sketch it out. But anyways, brothers, I got a band of snow moving in the way, so I gotta go move it. And I'm sorry because I know I'm sharing my screens, but you guys can find it. And if you guys are still doing it when I get back, I'll come through.
Peace, masterpiece, man. Yeah. So we got that snow up here too, man. This shit is
Yep, you already know it, man.
A fucking foot of snow, bro.
But you know what, bro? Just do your thing, master. Good looking, bro.
Yeah, good looking, masterpiece, man. Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad to add a little bit to this show. Did you want to ask me something, bro?
Hey, actually, I wanted to say, you know, I'm gonna have to talk to you a little bit more about these maps and sync with you, because I, you know, probably had some questions off topic or whatever. But yeah, we'll talk.
Okay, we're true. And everybody, I think tomorrow, if the weather is good enough, I should be doing the green streams tomorrow. So hopefully look out for that. And if you want to join me, bro, you can, or like Quentin or Truth, anybody, I'll send out the panel after I do the presentation. But with that said, I gotta get out of here. And all right, yo, peace.
Hey, Masterpiece, I just wanted to say one more thing to you, Masterpiece. Whenever you got the time, brother, let me know. I'd like to indulge with you on the mud floods and the Tartarian Empire. You know, I'm not too familiar with that, and I'd like to get some insight on that. And I know you got a lot of information about that, brother.
True. All right, cool. We'll do that. Peace.
All right, peace my out, brother. Bro. Take care.
Peace, bro.
Yeah, man. I guess we ain't gonna have too many debates about mud floods today, so maybe that's a good thing. But there's been some interesting bills on the topic of Tartaria and all that. I don't want to make this thing too long. I guess I better be getting up out of here myself, running errands and doing stuff. But I had to get this one in during the day. But I ain't rushing it, man. We can build and keep this thing going for a minute, brother. So if anybody got anything else they want to contribute to the bill, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, you and Masterpiece, as far as the Tartarian Empire and the mud floods, like, you know, I like to get with you brothers on that, because I know y'all are knowledgeable about that, and I'm not. And I've been noticing, like, on my YouTube, like, when I get on it, it's a lot of people that's been making, like, YouTube videos about it, and you know, it's so many people indulging it. So, you know, I just like to get more familiar with it, you know, whenever y'all brothers got a chance.
Hey, we got a chance right now, brother. You can build on it right now, for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh no, I need the information. I ain't got none. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
what's the question?
About the Tartarian Empire and the mud floods. Like, I don't have.
Oh yeah, I'm right with you, bro.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask that too, literally.
Yeah, I'm lost, bro. So like, you know, I'm just pretty much listening about it.
Yeah, you got everything. You know, you say you don't got no information on it. Quinn say he don't got no information on it, but y'all got the same amount of information that me or anybody else got on it. It's the fact that it's some buildings that sunk that we trying to explain, and we call that the mud floods, and there's different theories on why they sunk. I gave a couple of them on here. And then as far as Tartaria, it's a northern land that they read off the map, the northern parts of Asia. But when we look at the geographics from a Mercator map, we see it's a land attached to the 4 continents. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And giants, you know. Now, if you want to talk about giants, because I don't think we touched on that, I think that the giants, come from one of them continents around, you know, matter of fact, the giants, I think it is a place on that map that say like one of them continents is the land of the giants or something. But
Yeah, the Mercator map, it do got a pygmy, medium, and then I did see one of them say giants on them as well.
yeah, so that's why we always talk about the giants. Now, let me tell y'all how crazy people is to deny giants. All around the ancient world, all around the earth, we see different scales of architecture. We see houses that are so small, we know for a fact these are pygmy areas. You see what I'm saying? Y'all tracking with me?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
with you, bro.
Yeah, I just want a little feedback. Y'all can stay unmuted because we're going to build together with this. Now, people who deny giants, they don't argue about the pygmy lands because we see midgets everywhere. We see dwarfs everywhere. And we see these small miniature little dwellings. And we know, okay, these were pygmy dwellings. But what made me start re-questioning the giants is when people were showing me the big ass buildings and the big ass doors. Why wouldn't you use the same kind of logic on grand scale architecture as you use on smaller scale? Because us medium people build shit just for our size. And they gave you this same concept in Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Papa Bear shit was big. The medium bear shit was medium. The little bear shit was little. So all around the world, we see structures look like giants built them. We see structures look like dwarfs built them. And then here we go. Now that there are no more giants really walking the earth like that, because I think they got all the giants, like we say, in the sports, in the different shit circuses. Ain't no telling. We look at the world different today. But what I'm saying is the machine have become the giant. They got bulldozers, so people on our level can build on giant scales now because we got cranes and big ass, machines and shit. That's the giants.
Yeah,
Hey,
just piggyback off of you. After I came across the Mercator map, and I seen that it was the land of the giants. It always made me think that here it is. We got these dinosaur bones that they finding, and what if you can make a skeleton into pretty much anything you want, but what if these are just giant animals, just like the animals we got here, but on a larger scale? And if you pretty much put the same skin and fur on them, they can look just like a giant ass dog or a giant elephant, like the mammoth and stuff like that, instead of it being like a Tyrannosaurus Rex and all this other shit.
facts. Hey, if you can, bro, bring up Nephilim skeleton in Google real quick. Nephilim skeletons, and then look at the images that you get of them brought up in different places around the world, like Peru, Southern America, and the Middle East.
Yeah, I seen those shits too, Quinn. Like real talk, it, I think for people to deny that is larger humans is bullshit according to the finds they find it. You gotta think about it. A lot of times they find things and they don't put it out to the public until like 2-3 decades later and shit.
What do y'all think about the people that's debunking the Nephilim skeletons and calling them a hoax and all of that?
Um, all I say is they need to prove it. It's easy to just sit there and say, "Oh, this is not that," and blah blah blah. But where's your evidence as to debunk it? These stuffs they have been found. How can you
Well,
debunk
well, well,
actual? Oh, my
well,
bad.
they ain't gotta necessarily debunk it coming from our perspective. I kind of give them that argument because I deny dinosaurs based upon saying, hey man, how we know them real bones, the bones can be man-made, the bones was planted there. When we deny dinosaurs, we got to deny all of this shit too. So as flat earthers, I'm telling you some flat earthers, you can't deny dinosaurs and then say these bones right here real, you're gonna have a problem. That's why I don't really fuck with the Nephilim skeleton. Now I believe in giants, but you know when it comes down to argument and people want to really look for contradictions in your shit, they'll get you every time with that one, and it'll make you look real bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily like deny the skeletons of the dinosaurs, that part. I'm just denying the fact of how they created it to look a certain way. Like, I believe those bones and skeleton, you know, the skeletons that they found that they claim in the dinosaurs, those are actual skeletons they found. But I just have a different interpretation of what those skeletons was. Now, am I 100% correct? No, but you know, no one really knows what was the look of those skeletons because we wasn't there, and they not, and you know, we can't find them today in the landmass that we live in today.
Now,
I can't.
I will say this and pass the mic right back to y'all. When you Google Nephilim skeletons, it look more realer. When you Google dinosaur skeletons, you get this shit.
Yeah, I will give you that
Yeah,
one
I
right
agree.
there, bro. That
Yeah,
shit look
I
like
feel like the
bullshit.
Nephilim look a little bit more real than a dinosaur. That's why I'm more inclined to believe larger scale humans than larger scale reptiles.
Right. Yeah. I'm like I say, I think they just skeletons of actual larger animals, of the animals we live with today. Just like, you know, the skeletons of the giants, you know, they're just larger humans of today. Now, do I believe that
Yeah,
all
I
those,
agree. Kind of like how you got mammoths and elephants.
right? You feel me? But as far as like some giant ass lizard and shit coming to chow down on you, maybe one of them is, but all of them looking like that, it just seemed kind of suspicious to me and shit. Like they trying to distract us from what it really is.
Yeah, doing that Hollywood Jurassic Park type shit.
You know, but
I
it
just don't believe in too many any of the bones because I mean, how long do bones stay bones connected like that? I mean, they don't turn into dust. I mean,
Well, I mean, when it comes to that, you got to look at mummies. It depends on how the body is preserved.
Right. And on top of the fact is that if that's the case, as far as like, you know, if you used to say you don't believe in the bones of the like these larger animals, then you got to say that you don't believe in the bones when they say they found, you know, like Lula and shit down in South America and shit, supposed to be like 400,000 years old. How was those bones still preserved? And that bone structure was mummified. You know, they just pretty much they keep digging around the site and try to find as many bones as possible and connect them. From my understanding of the information that they give out to the people about how they do these excavations, I'm not saying that's necessarily true, but you know that has to go both ways, not just for animals but humans as well too. Like how is these bones still surviving and shit?
right, but you said the key word. They was mummified. Now, is y'all saying that these Nephilim bones was mummified?
No, the bones that I'm talking about found in South America wasn't mummified. You know, they got bones that they found that wasn't mummified as well that are humans. So I'm not, you know, trying to connect those with mummified bones. I'm talking about human bones that they found that wasn't mummified.
yeah. And see, I'm with y'all on that. I do accept the mummified bones, but all this other stuff, man, ain't no way it's gonna stand the test of time. And if we make one argument about the lucid skulls and all that, cause think about it. Once they get you to accept these skeletons that ain't mummified, look how far back these bastards can go and play games with us. Like how old is
That's
it? Look at,
yes.
you feel me? Look at the lucid skulls. They're supposed to be like fucking millions of years old. Like you ain't digging up George Washington today, and he ain't gonna even be there.
Right.
Okay, it's simple as this. You know, like how we talking about Tartaria, we saying that these structures were built on levels. Like you can see, like the people under the ground is at a level, right? Y'all telling me they digging down deep enough for 1 million year old bones? Come on now.
Right. I
Hey,
mean, I'm with you on that one. I mean, I'm just saying like you know, they not mummified. They classified as falsified. So they like fossil bones. Now, who's to say that, you know, that what they found was real or not? I'm not gonna sit there and stand on that argument like, yeah, they real. You feel me? But you know, they have them, and if that is the case, you know, we gotta look into that. You feel me?
I think, to be honest, I think it started like a lot of other shit that started, man. I think they really did find an old ass skeletal skeleton somewhere, and they realized it wasn't human, and they realized it was real by the size of the damn skull. I think some of them fossils they find is real, but some of them is fake because it's all a money scheme at the end of the day. When they find out anything new in the world, they try to make money out of it. You know what I'm saying? They turn it into
That's a
they turn it
dangerous
into an
game,
amusement.
though. You
It is.
saying
It
like
is, bro.
some of them real and some of them ain't. And
Yeah,
how
but
we?
that's what you gotta expect when you dealing with humans, bro. You gotta expect that, bro, because they're gonna come up with they're gonna make up all type of shit. You know what I'm saying? If they don't have knowledge of the species that was here, all they got is bones. We can't say that they 100% putting them down bones together correctly. You know what I'm saying? They don't have proof that they are or they're not. So at the end of the day, all we can say is they found some old ass bone and a big ass skeleton. You know what I'm saying? Like that giant they found in Iraq. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of the times when we look at the government controlling shit, they really don't have as much control as we think they do. They just control what they can control. So when they find a big ass giant, they're gonna immediately take the rights to that giant skeleton, take it back to the states, and try to make money off of its amusement, bro. And then they try to basically copy the skeleton they found and make some fake shit. And they'll say it's a real skeleton. It's this type of skeleton or whatever. But the whole time it's some made up shit. All right, bro. Yep. All right. But yeah, man. So like the way I look at it, bro, is it's like it's two sides to every coin. Like I ain't quick to say that all of that shit fake, because to be honest with you, we still don't know. It's still pieces of land in this world that we live in right now that we don't know shit about. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna tell you that shit fake, and I ain't gonna tell you it's real, but I'm gonna tell you that it's possibility. It's a possibility that it's real and fake. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's a detriment for us to just continue to think all of it's fake. You know what I'm saying? We doing ourselves a disservice by doing that, because we get caught off guard if that shit is real.
No, because I know it's giants, but if we flat earthers, we just looking at what we can see. I know giants is like 7 foot and all that. I just can't lean to the ones that's be, the crazy bones that they find. And like, you see the size of them skulls of them bones, they pretty big, bro.
Yeah, bro, and that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of the world we live in, bro, is hard to believe, but that's because of our mentality and what we witnessed so far has developed our logics, our logic mentality. So if it don't fit our logic mentality, we're gonna instantly say it's fake. But what I'm saying is, like, reality is different from your logic. Like your reality could be totally opposite of what your logic is. You know what I'm saying? Your logic could change if you saw some shit that you didn't believe in yesterday, and you seen some shit today, and it was like, damn, I can't say I don't believe it no more because I didn't seen the shit. So it's like we can only apply our logic for so long, bro, until like until our findings support otherwise. And I believe the government has found some shit that, just like Brother Truth said, bro, they're not gonna release that shit till decades later. And by the time they release that shit, motherfuckers gonna look at it like, so, you know what I'm saying? You found a giant in Iraq, so. But if they would have released that shit
we
when
get
they
the
first found it,
hand-me-down information, we get the hand-me-down technology. That's what
right?
we get.
And what I'm saying is that affects what we deem to be logical. It affects how we view what the fuck they presenting to us.
And to
You know
piggyback off what you saying, you right, bro. Like anything that doesn't fit our perspective, which has been trained in this system, is automatically wrong. And a lot of times, you gotta use common sense and logic to try to be able to weave through the bullshit to get to the truth, because they hiding it from us. Even when they give us some truth, it's some deception in that truth. That's why I'm drawn to Brother Sanchez page, because he weaved through the web of that deception that they give with the truth to try to get to the full truth. And that's what you got to do. So anything they put out there, it's probably already been here, but they've been hiding it. But they just want to see how we react. They do test runs
Damn.
to see our
Yep.
reaction to everything,
Yep.
whether it be like information or skeletons or even just, you know, shit like, oh, you know, the government gonna shut down and blah blah blah. And see how people respond. Oh, you
I
know,
mean,
the lights gonna be off for 6 months and shit. Something in the solar system to see how people respond and shit. So you know, you
think
gotta be
about it.
careful though.
Yeah, bro, and that go down to the aliens too. Think about it like this: how many people did y'all really, when y'all? I mean, everybody that's a flat earther had to have delved into the conspiracy theory of aliens at some point in their
Yep.
research. So
Hey, buddy.
when you did that research, how many people did y'all find that ended up being whistleblowers that used to work for Area 51 and shit, and telling you that it's some shit down there that the government don't want you to know about,
Yep.
like
Phil
some real
Schneider,
shit out there,
amongst
like, you know what I'm saying?
a whole bunch of people.
Right. So, but if we was to see it in our everyday lives, if we was to see that shit, we'd hear that shit from a person and we'll say, all right, he sound like he telling the truth, but at the end of the day, we're gonna go back to our normal lives and still look at that shit like that's some bullshit. We're not gonna really take in what the man was trying to say, because you know what I'm saying, we're just not built like that. We're not just gonna take it for what he say. If a man told me yesterday I retired from working Area 51 for 30 years and I seen 30 plus different type of species of aliens down there, I'm gonna just basically take that shit in, but I'm not gonna consider it to be true because I ain't seen it yet. So all I can do is say that is somebody else's truth. You know what I'm saying? That's somebody else's truth who actually witnessed that shit. And the government knows this. When they desensitize the whole society, that's how they get their upper hand, bro. Because they don't care about whistleblowers at that point when the whole world is not gonna believe you. You know what I'm saying? When they basically created a society that is so quick to believe shit, they don't have to worry about a whistleblower telling everybody till he blew in the breath that aliens is real. Because no matter how many people he tell, they're not
And they
gonna
still
believe
gonna
it
kill his
until they
ass.
see it for themselves. They're not gonna truly believe it till they see it for themselves, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like who knows? These motherfuckers probably found them giant bones hundreds and hundreds of years ago. For all we know, the Illuminati has been known about them shits, bro. And just like you said, bro, they waiting for a perfect time to release this information for the sole purpose to gauge how we gonna react to this shit.
I feel
You know
like
what I'm saying?
I feel like we at the point where we finding out the information on our own, and then they just trying to catch us up with their own bullshit story. At this point, some stuff is past the point of release. It's coming out and you ain't got no control of it. I.e., perfect example of why all these elders and all of these people on these platforms keep trying to ignore Bro Sanchez, because they know the truth that he bringing is that raw, unedited truth that everybody can't stomach. It's that Richard Pryor shit of comedy. You see what I'm saying? It ain't that Kevin Hart soft shit. You see what I'm saying?
Man, look, that's not even the whole reason why they don't fuck with Bro Sanchez like that. They don't fuck with him like that because of his influence. It ain't got nothing to do with what he's
You know
talking
what I'm
about.
saying?
Really,
It's not,
it got a
but
lot to do with his
the
influence.
influence is directly drawn from the content. The
I mean,
truth
yeah,
is withstand.
on our end it is, but they looking at Bro Sanchez like, yo, he telling that shit, and he got this many people following him. That's how
And
they look at it.
they know if they put Bro Sanchez on their platform and let him speak without being interrupted and misled and guided into a whole nother topic and throw him off his train of thought, that his people gonna switch over because he coming with some real truth and not that watered down shit.
Oh yeah, that shit will hurt so bad. That's why they so scared. Phil is waiting. Motherfucking Professor Griff is waiting. I'm hoping Lord Jamar actually, followed through with that. Dr. Umar probably don't want none because he pushing this Pan African shit so hard. But
Man,
it
what
is
that
Listen,
what it is.
school
man, the reason why he a trendsetter is because he ain't regurgitating no old motherfucker's philosophy. He creating his own philosophy off of shit that's already been here for years and years, bro. And that's dangerous to the people that want to control shit. Period.
And
That's
and the
You
dangerous.
know
biggest
what?
one of the biggest part about it is exposing the mother energy shit. Ain't
and
nobody else talking about that in that
Man,
type
it's
of scheme.
everything he talking about, bro. It ain't got nothing to do with one thing. It's everything.
hey,
You,
but
you know
Everything.
what?
you
You know
trick.
what, guys? I'm gonna do this real quick. I'm gonna end this one because we know already built on mud floods and Tartaria. We about to go over to Bro Sanchez live, and we about to just open up, do an open panel, open bills, and
I feel it.
still
Yup.
sharp and still. So,
right.
so I'm just want to let y'all brothers know on the panel, we gonna remain on our call. But if y'all wanted to let, just say something before we go, I think everybody gonna follow us over to Bro Sanchez Live. So shout out to the people in the chat. Just follow us over there. And to my brothers on the panel, did y'all want to say anything to the people before we go over there?
All I want to do is tell people keep an open mind and goddamn, and you know what I'm saying. Stay tuned. Shit, you know what I mean. Stay
See
tuned.
y'all on
Definitely.
see y'all on the other show.
Most
Word
definitely.
up.
And we're gonna let y'all go to the chat room and everybody out there. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hit the like button on this video, then come right on over to Bro Sanchez Live. We're gonna still be on this call having a bill. So I'll see y'all over there. Peace out.